Welcome back to the fourth episode of the Ultimate Guide to Facebook Advertising. Today we're talking saved audiences, audience targeting, and ad sets. So Facebook, we know, offers one of the most advanced and robust advertising ever made available to marketers. So the power in this network is really the ability to target almost any audience you're looking to attract. And this is done through the audiences modules. And today we look at some of the capabilities and how those different audiences and targeting opportunities can help you grow your business online. So when advertising to Facebook, you can actually create your audience when you are placing your ad or beforehand. Our recommendation is to really start the advertising process by carefully designing your target audience and creating customer avatars. Then build those audiences into Facebook Ads Manager. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and place your ads either through the Ads Manager or through Boosted Posts or through the Power Editor. So in order to build your audiences first, you want to basically create a saved audience from the Audiences module in the Ads Manager. To do this, you just simply click on Audiences from the Ads Manager menu, choose Save Audience under the Create Audience drop-down menu. So the first part of saved audiences is actually custom audiences, which we talked about last week. But this section allows you to either include or exclude any of your custom audiences. So this is a unique feature because you can include people from your database or you can exclude people from your database. So say for instance you're targeting a mass group of people and you want to take out your current customers. You can do that by creating a custom audience of your customers and then removing them from the general targeting. It can be very useful in certain situations. Next, let's talk about location targeting. Before we get into the obvious part of this, I want to take you through a drop-down box that many people often overlook, and it's very critical when you're doing your location targeting. And it's the first field in the location section. Basically, there are 4 different ways you can target using geography. First, you can choose people who live in a specific location. So these are people who have entered their personal home address into their profile. So if they live in that current location that you're targeting, they're going to see your ads. The next option is to include people who have recently been in the location that you're specifying. So if they've checked in at a local restaurant or a local tourist location, you'll get them in that criteria. So third option is kind of the tourist option. So what that is if people who are currently checking in locations, but their home is more than 125 miles away. I have no idea where 125 miles came from, but it's Facebook, so who knows. But what we're looking at is people who are visiting a certain area and their home address, the address on their profile is more than 125 miles away. So say you're working with a touristy location in downtown Chicago, you might get people who are checking in at the other touristy locations in downtown Chicago, but who live farther away, somewhere in California or something like that. So Facebook allows you to also include and exclude people by location. So say for instance, you want to target people in one area, but you want to exclude people who live in another specific area. So say for instance, you want everyone in the United States, but you don't like people in Chicago. We can exclude the people in Chicago and include everybody else in the United States. Now those locations can be cities, they can be zip codes, they can be DMAs, states, countries, a lot of different levels. Next section is the age, gender, and language targeting section. And this is really kind of a quick section that we're going to jump right over, but basically you can target people by gender, male, female, or everybody, by age, anyone from 13 all the way on up, or by language. So age targeting is kind of important if you are working with any kind of age-restricted product. So say for instance you're marketing alcoholic beverages, you can't have any kinds of ads to anyone under the age of 21. So you have to make sure that you're using the appropriate age ranges. And Facebook will block your ads if you do try to target someone who's not in an acceptable age range. The last section in this is language targeting, and this is kind of interesting as well because people might often speak a second language but not use Facebook in that language. And this targeting only matters to how people have their Facebook set up. So it's people who have chosen a specific language to have their entire Facebook experience in. So in Chicago, it's very popular to speak Spanish. Now, but many people in Chicago don't go to that level and change their language setting within Facebook. So use this section very cautiously. It only really works when you're trying to target someone who speaks a language that's not very common in the area that you're targeting. Next, let's talk about the detailed targeting section, because this is where the real true power of Facebook advertising exists. It's the secret sauce in the whole equation. As you browse through this section, you'll see that Facebook allows you to target people by so many different criteria, demographics, interests, behaviors, and even more categories than that. So it really lets you dive down and really target people by some unique criteria. So let's start by talking about some of the demographics you can use. Facebook allows you to target people by education, so the level of education they have, the field of study, specifically what school they go to or what undergraduate year they're in. So education is all can be precisely targeted. Financial, someone's net worth or income, the generation of that person. So are they a baby boomer? Are they a Gen Xer or a millennial? We can look at their home. Do they own a house? Do they rent? What kind of ownership is there? What kind of house is it? What's the value of their home? What's their household composition like? You can go by life events, so anniversaries, whether someone's away from home or away from their hometown. Say, for instance, birthdays, or they're friends of people's with birthdays. They have a new job, a new relationship, they're newly engaged or newly married, they're in a long-term relationship, or even recently moved. So those are all life events that you can target people on. You can also target parents, and that comes up really quite often in what we do here. You can choose people by specific ages. So say, for instance, I want parents of kids with preteens or toddlers or infants. You can do that. You can target expectant parents. So you can target parents in a lot of different ways. Politics, you can choose people who are self-reported conservative, they're self-reported liberals, or somewhere in the middle. You can target people who are likely to engage in U.S. politics or who have contributed to political campaigns. So a lot of different databases that Facebook has partnered with to get that kind of information. You can also target by relationship. So is someone interested in this kind of relationship or another kind of relationship? What's the relationship status? You can target by all of that. Finally, you can target by someone's work. So who do they work for? Who's their employer? What industry are they in? What's their job title? What's the office type they're in? So that kind of covers the demographic section. Next, Facebook allows you to target by interest, and this is really a very big section we can go into. So I'm not going to try to cover all of it, but basically it kind of brings it down to a couple different categories. I'll run through those really quick, but interest can be classified as business or industry interests, entertainment, family and relationships, fitness and wellness, food and drinks, hobbies, sports, shopping, technology, a bunch of different interests. If there's an interest out there that's somewhere on Facebook, you can probably target people within that interest group. Next is something that Facebook calls behaviors, and that's another kind of interesting section. So we've got people who are celebrating anniversaries, people who have some kind of automotive thing going on in their life right now. We can go over car shoppers, recent car buyers. You can get used car shoppers, used cars buyers, owners, people who own this type of car or that type of car. It's all targetable on the Facebook ad network. You can target B2B people. So do they work for what kind of company, what kind of industry, how big is that company, what's their seniority within that company. You can also target people who are philanthropic, so have they made charitable donations. You can target people by digital activities. Are they gamers? What kind of OS are they seeing Facebook on? Are they working on an iOS system, an Android system, on a computer? Do they use Facebook payments, or are they an administrator of a Facebook page? Have they created events on Facebook page? Are they small business owners? What kind of browser are they using? Are they technology early adopters or technology late adopters? All those are digital activities that you can target on Facebook. You can also target people who are living in a different country but have a residency somewhere else, so expats. You can target people on financial characteristics, like what kind of bank do they use, what kind of investments do they have, what kind of spending methods do they have. You can target people by job roles, or whether they listen to the radio or TV, what kind of mobile device they use. There's multicultural affinity targeting options, as well as purchasing behavior. Do they buy online? Do they buy do they buy nicer quality merchandise online? Residential profiles, are they new homeowners, or how are they shopping for homes? Seasonal events, travelers, people who travel a lot. These are all behaviors that Facebook allows you to target by. Finally, there's one other category. It's called More Categories, and it's just the random Facebook categories that they call fast food and nail care. I don't understand why they're separated into other categories, but it's just something that Facebook does. Finally, the last section of the saved audiences is connections. And this is another interesting area. You can target people who have specific connections to your page or an app that you have. So you can choose people who are fans of your page. You can exclude people who are fans of your page. You can include people who are friends of fans of your page. So perhaps if you have a brand that people talk about a lot, it might be advantageous to go ahead and target people who are friends of the fans of your page. If you have an app, you can target people who have completed some kind of action, have downloaded or connected on your app, or who have used your app. Finally, if you make Facebook events, it allows you to advertise and either include or exclude people who have responded to a specific event. So it's the last section. It's called Connections. What you get out of this whole section is that Facebook really is one of the most robust and powerful advertising networks ever made available to advertisers. The targeting is unlike anything else ever made available. So go ahead, explore the audiences, try to define your audiences in a couple different ways, create as many audiences as you can, and then try them out with different ads. You can test different audience and different ad sets, see who performs the best, who converts the best, and then go ahead and refine your process and invest in those audiences that are working the best for you. But audiences allow you to really create different groups of people that you can target, and it's really a great opportunity to test different areas and see who really performs best for you.